That's just how it grows.
Okay.
Don't touch the switch again.
We're gonna do it.
That was the greatest stream we've ever done for Clickbait. I'm just putting it out
trying
right
to be
now.
self-important.
I don't want to be self-important. I'm just trying to do stuff. I'm trying to make myself useful. Come on.
Why do you have that picture? Welcome back, one and all,
off to a great start.
Clickbait Sports. Listen, if you tuned into our other stream, you are a part of legendary history because that was our shortest stream ever. We are back to give you the full deal. Now, joining me, it is the full squad minus the former reigning NFL Fan of the Year. We've got Brandon Perna. Perna, how are you doing today?
Good. I'm great. The stream ended. It was technically Tree's fault, but it was also my fault. I went to start the stream.
I was already live.
Noticed that it switched over to end stream. So I just ended the stream, and that's why we had like a 10-second stream. So now everybody knows I messed up.
Great. It was the best stream ever. Trust me. I'm already getting punished for it anyway, so don't worry. It's not your fault, Brandon. Not your fault.
Right next to Brandon Perna, the one who initiated the stoppage or the startage, urinating Tree. Welcome, brethren.
I mean, I am awaiting the inevitable. Maybe it's my signal of just trying to avoid the inevitable Aaron Rodgers death spiral.
Oh, we will get all into that. But before, we must introduce you to none other than the legendary 5 Points Vids 5. What's going on today?
It is opening day in baseball. Juan Soto and his $700 million contract is playing for the Mets today. I am prepared to have my heart ripped out and stomped on by the New York Mets.
Ooh.
By the way, this is my glove when I was 12.
Oh, still fits.
That's old school, man.
Mm-hmm.
Still
your
fits
hands
your
just
hand.
never grew
Nice.
from 12?
Nope. I was.
It's a really wide glove. Like usually they keep it tight.
I'm like Brandon Perna. I'm a tiny, tiny man.
That's
I mean like the grip is wide. Like usually they have them tight seam now.
That's fair.
No,
and
I'm 5'11".
I am Scooter Magruder. If you're wondering what I'm wearing, I was doing sod all day, but that's neither here nor there. What is here is speculation on one Aaron Rodgers and where he might land. Ladies and gentlemen, if you have not heard, it's down to a couple of people. And when I say a couple, I mean one team. We go immediately to urinating Tree. What are your thoughts? What is the percentage that Aaron Rodgers will be QB1 for the Pittsburgh Steelers? Break it down for us.
You are coping and seething. You just can't accept what you're seeing.
That is pretty much my feeling right now. I am coping and seething to my heart's content. I don't think he's even going to do what they think they're going to do. They think they're a quarterback away. The reality is he doesn't have the mobility. He had some really rough games against legit opponents. And quite frankly, he has all the control and the Steelers are powerless. And it's not really their operandi to lose power. So I'm going to be quite frank. I am on team root. Go to the Vikings and complete the Brett Favre cycle. And then in 10 years, steal some money from the poor. So, hey, I'm looking forward to it, man.
So let's get your opinion, though. Would you say this is more likely to happen or not happen? Where are you? Like, give us, like, how are Steelers fans feeling right now?
It's kind of mixed. I feel like the main thing there is, like Mason Rudolph, he's not a starting caliber quarterback. He's good as a backup. But the reality is there are three main camps for Aaron Rodgers. There are a bunch of different rumors going around. One is saying that he's going to sign with the Steelers. There's mutual interest. Tomlin wants him. There's that avenue. There's also those that, that rumor that Aaron Rodgers might just retire. He'll just say, like, screw it, I'm done, and just go from there. And then there are the others like me who hope he goes to the Vikings because Aaron Rodgers, his main wish is to go to the Vikings, but the Vikings don't want him because they already have J.J. McCarthy. I'm hoping veteran backup route. Well, I mean, I don't want them to be smart. I want to relive the memes.
My question,
on,
though,
man.
is in your heart and your brain, we're using both of these.
Mm-hmm.
What do they tell you? Who will be QB1 to start this season? And if it's not Aaron Rodgers, are you even happy with whoever might be starting?
I mean, at this point, there's not much out there. Like Russell Wilson and Justin Fields are already gone. They've already switched their quarterback room several times over the past 5 years. There's been a lot of instability there. I mean, they're pretty much what the Colts were doing after Andrew Luck retired. You're bringing in all these stopgaps. They're not working. And the reality is you're just kicking the can down the road, hoping that they can become something. And it just turns into a mess. And it's just... that's what I'm fearing is going to happen with Rodgers. I think it will be Rodgers because, as I said, it's one of those things where they think he's going to get him over the hump. He wants to prove that the Jets campaign wasn't him. I think it's going to be a situation where I think that it like they're going to look past the baggage. They're going to look past the McAfee interviews and think, okay, this guy is not going to be Russell Wilson. He's not going to be Kenny Pickett. He's not going to be Trubisky. He's going to help us to a Super Bowl. And then they'll probably end up drafting a quarterback in the first round to, shadow as like their guy and then play him the next year. That's what I'm thinking they're going to do.
To be fair to Rodgers, like anytime you can assign some blame to the Jets, you should. Like,
dude, the Jets do that anyway.
Get out of almost any situation. Like Mark Sanchez can still blame the Jets for a lot of things. You can just be like, and you don't even have to cite evidence. You can just be like, it's the Jets, and everyone will be like, yeah, you do have a point.
That's fair.
You're onto something there.
No,
well, we will see how this plays out.
Here's
with the Steelers. Go ahead, Brandon.
I want the monkey's paw.
I know you don't want Rodgers, but the Steelers need a quarterback. Do they need a quarterback heading into this draft? Like, do you think there's a chance? Because now it's like, okay, so if the Steelers don't have Rodgers pre-draft, they're going to draft somebody. It's just a question of where, right? And
I think they're going to do both because Rodgers is 41. He's not a long-term solution.
Right. But if they don't have Rodgers, they might take somebody at 21 versus, okay, we'll take one of these other guys that we don't have to start this year. Whether that's Jalen Milroe or Will Howard or Quinn Ewers, depending on who's available where. Would you rather have Rodgers on the roster just so you know, like, the rookie you do draft?
The thing is, Mason Rudolph can do a job. That's the reality of it. But the question is,
no, he cannot.
Yeah, it's Mason Rudolph. Yeah, that's where I'm at right now. Like, dude, I'd rather have Mason Rudolph than Aaron Rodgers. That's how bad it is.
What?
That's a ridiculous assertion.
It's not an assertion. The problem is Mason
failed
Rudolph
everywhere
can
he's
still
gone.
maneuver.
What about
And the thing is, you think Aaron Rodgers is going to do well on the Steelers?
Who would you rather have, Flacco or Rodgers?
Joe Flacco for the memes.
Okay.
For the memes, baby. The elite Joe Flacco will lead us to glory for like a week, and then it'll go to shit.
Yeah. Flacco would be a lot cheaper too, probably.
Final question. Shedeur Sanders is there at 21. The Steelers do.
Oh, God. Yeah, you take him. He's not going to be there at 21, though.
No,
I don't think Ward Sanders or
sure
Gardner are
about
going to
that?
be there at 21.
Yeah.
I think
they're all gone.
I'd put $20,000 on that, Scooter.
That Shedeur will not be available. Okay.
He will not be there at 21. No way in
looking
hell.
at some mocks.
No way in hell.
They've got him going. Well, this was previously, but I had some mocks that said he was falling to the Giants. Who would trade back up into the first round to get him at 32.
Here's the problem. That's the Kurt Benkert-like thing, too. That was that mock draft. He had the Steelers picking a tackle in the first round when they had drafted tackles in the last
He had
rounds.
the Cowboys picking someone, too, who I had not seen mocked on anything. But
exactly,
that provides a great segue.
Dude, Shadeur's not going to make it past 3 if he falls.
Shadeur's going to draft the Browns.
Grab him like that.
You think the Giants? Okay,
great segue from one team needing a quarterback to a team now with maybe too many quarterbacks. Instant reaction 5. What was your feeling when they signed Jameis? And then tell me that same feeling when you saw that they also signed Russell Wilson.
before you even answer, 5, I just want to say welcome. Welcome to the Russell Wilson Club, my friend. You are now in a very select group. You,
moon
Tree, and
balls
I
and moon
share.
pies for days, buddy.
We have all been in the. Oh shit! Russell Wilson is our quarterback. Frame of mind. Now, of course, when I received Russell Wilson, I was very excited. The Broncos were the test case. We showed you all the ways it can go wrong. We paid for Russ to play for the Steelers. Now he goes to you. And if there is a football god out there, Russell Wilson will play for the Cowboys, and he will play for the Packers before his career is done.
Yes.
But
No.
I'm happy to have you, Adam. I'm happy to have you, buddy.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
It's like we're all Eskimo brothers with.
And Drew
Russell
Lock is the
Wilson.
reason you don't have the number 1 pick.
Yeah, I know. See, my first reaction was, oh crap. You know, when we signed Jameis, I was like, I'm fine with
Jameis was
that.
a good hire.
Yeah, I'm like, he's a meme machine.
Rather
He's
Jameis.
going to
He's
help us
fun.
tank. Jameis is a good teammate. He's been a good backup for a lot of other quarterbacks, and I
Great
thought he was going
quote.
to be a good resource for whoever the Giants draft at QB. And I was like, okay, let's get ready for the draft. They're going to do something. They're going to maneuver. They might take Jackson Dart at number 3. Shador might fall into our lap, and we have the future of the franchise. You know, some optimism to look forward to. And then they go out and sign Russell Wilson. I'm like, what are you doing? So Travis Hunter, you are a New York Giant. The biggest question for me is Joe Shane a lame duck, or is he getting extended? Because if you put Russell Wilson in and you don't draft a quarterback, this team's going to be bad. They're even with all the draft picks that they can accumulate, they're not going to fix that offensive line. The defense is okay, but I don't think 2 rookies or however many rookies you put on the offensive line fixes the problems that they have. And then you're going to have Russell Wilson. So you're not a playoff team, right? But then, you know, how bad are you going to be? Are you going to be a 4-win, 5-win team? That gets Shane fired.
Yeah, you're
Right?
probably
Keep in mind,
5-7-win team.
You're
with Russ.
in the NFC East too with the Eagles Super Bowl champions, the Commanders getting Debo, right? They're loading up too. So the Cowboys, we're not scrubs. So where are your wins even coming from?
Can
I don't know, and I'm rare. It's rare. I'm gonna just let you dunk on me like that, Scooter. But it's true because the Giants, they're not gonna add up wins anywhere with Russ Wilson under center, and now they're clearly not taking a quarterback, so there's no optimism either. We're going to be another 4-win team.
what do you think is more likely right now? That the Giants believe the top 2 quarterbacks are going to be gone by pick 3, and like Ward and Shador are gone. So they're like, you know what? We're preparing for that scenario more than anything. Or do you think maybe they've started to like one of the other quarterback prospects in this draft, and like, we can just take the best player available? Because picking at 3 and assuming at least one quarterback's going, we're going to get a top 2 player at pick 3 no matter what. Maybe we like Jackson Dart. Maybe we like somebody else. Like, what do you, and I know there's no way to know, but what do you think they believe?
So I don't know what they believe, but I'm looking at their actions, right? They signed Tommy DeVito. They could have cut him or waited to see what they were doing, but so DeVito is under contract. That's a waste of money if you have to cut him.
Yeah, if they cut him, they got to
regular
deal with the
season.
mafia, though. So, like,
Right.
how
his
he's going to
agent,
be on the roster?
you know, yeah, Don Rodgers
You're
and
not getting
Don
rid of
DeVito.
fellas.
But so they have 3 quarterbacks that are under contract already, and what are you going to just cut one of them? You know, that doesn't make any sense economically. So it's pretty clear that they're not going to take a quarterback. They don't like anybody in this draft, and they're going to tank for Arch Manning or whatever. They think that next year's class is more competent, and that is crazy that John Mara is dedicated to losing that.
Yeah, but I think,
what?
like, if you sign Russ, you're not in tanking mode. Russ is not great, but he's too good to let you tank.
then
Like he's
they're
better than any
absolutely
quarterback you had
delusional.
last season. He's a lot better than Dan Jones right now.
Yeah, but look at that line last year. You put anybody back there, save Lamar
Sure.
Jackson. You put anybody behind the Giants' offensive line, which was injured to all hell for most of the season. It's still a bad team. 6 wins with prime.
Yeah, you'll be picking at like 5 or 6.
Let me ask you
Arch
something.
gone.
Because,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, someone said Arch is not coming out next year, by the way. He has another
Mm-mm.
year after
Mm-mm.
next year before he's eligible. So it will be 2 years that you would have to wait.
Possibly.
But here's my question. What is the worst case scenario for the Giants draft night? What does that look like? The absolute worst. Is it trading back?
No, because if they trade back, and
They're gonna
depending
get
on how,
assets.
like they could have
They're gonna-
another first-round draft pick
Yeah, they
next
can get-
year, which
Exactly.
would give them the flexibility to move up possibly to get a quarterback they like, right?
Exactly.
Mhm.
Or
Yeah,
they can
I mean,
keep it and do
I'm
something
wondering,
like the
worst
Bears
case
did with
scenario.
Justin Fields.
Let's say Travis Hunter's gone. Cam Ward's gone. What do you do at 3?
That is the worst case scenario because maybe Abdul Carter, maybe they're like that, but he's got a lot of question marks about his health. And then if Shador's there, again, you have 3 quarterbacks under your employ already.
crazy.
They've clearly stated that they're not, but through their actions, they're saying we're not drafting a quarterback. But then worst case would be if they go ahead and draft Shador. Then
you
it
would
just
have
shows you that they
4.
don't care. Yeah. And that why would you put Shador behind Jameis and why would you stash him as number 3 on the depth chart? You'd at least want to see what he's got by the end of the year. It doesn't
they
make
would
much
still- they
sense.
would- Like,
Yeah.
I don't think it stops them from drafting Shador if he's there. I think it's more like they don't think he's going to be there.
But yeah, I don't think so either. But I think, I'm already preparing mentally. I'm getting in character to like the Travis Hunter pick because Travis Hunter is going to be good on either side of the ball. I don't think he's going to play both sides of the ball, but they're going to evaluate and be like, all right, what are you NFL Pro Bowl quality, whether you're a wide receiver or a corner, and we're going to put you there. And that's option. That's like 2 picks in 1. So maybe that's what they're thinking. My question is like, who's really puppeting the team? Is Mara this dumb, or is Shane the most convincing person on earth? Or he's like, trust me, I know what I'm doing. Like, I have no idea who's really pulling the strings here.
Nor do we, but it is fascinating to watch from the outside perspective. I just saw this quote by Russell Wilson. It says, new Giants QB, I expect to be the starter. Is that what you expect,
Mhm.
5?
Oh, for sure. If he can't beat out Jameis Winston, then he's washed, right? The only reason I think, and Tree, you explained it, the only reason he started the season last year behind Fields was he was slightly banged up.
He had a calf injury.
Yeah.
He had
Yeah.
a calf injury.
So he should have started all 17 last year.
Last question before we move on. Tree, do you regret not having Russell Wilson now?
The problem is, like, he had played himself out of a job in December. That's the reality of it. Like, he had like his moments, but after that stretch, it's like
You're telling me right
Here's the way to.
I'd rather.
to ask
I mean,
that.
well, the question is, do you rather deal with the cancer of Aaron Rodgers or more insufferable Carlton Banks? That's the reality of it.
But you want, yeah, right.
now. Why
Hey,
is
don't knock
Carlton
on
catching
Carlton.
strays? Don't
Don't knock on
catching
Carlton.
strays?
I was saying more insufferable Carlton Banks. I wasn't comparing to Carlton Banks.
Okay.
We love Carlton.
Can you do the Carlton scooter?
We love
I think it's-
Carlton over here.
Yeah.
we-
But you had to pick one. You don't get to like weasel your way out of it. You got to go into this season. You could choose Rodgers or Russ. Who you pick it?
Probably Russ because of the mobility.
Yeah. And I think there's more positives with Russ going back to the Steelers.
Of course.
He already knows the system,
But
right?
I know
He's
him
familiar.
and Arthur Smith
And-
were apparently clashing, but I don't know how true that is.
Russ is going to clash with everyone. And DK
Hey.
Metcalf. Like,
DK, I mean, the thing with DK, he's a home run threat. He's very hot and cold.
Yeah, Russ knows how to. Russ would have had the two best receivers for Russell Wilson he's ever played with in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, the moonball.
DK and
Moonballs for
George.
days.
Right or left.
Mhm.
You can throw it one of two directions: right sideline, left sideline, and Steelers can make a living on that.
Mm-hmm.
He wouldn't even have to
coverage.
look at the middle of the field. Just
We
boom or
will
boom.
see how
Okay,
these
I just-
situations play out. Yes, 5.
I want to ask one thing. So the Giants have Tommy DeVito, Jameis Winston.
Imagine DeVito starts.
Oh, that'd be great.
That
I
that
would
is
love that.
he started two consecutive years. He started at least 2 games. That's
Nice.
crazy.
Cutlets.
And then Russell Wilson. What is the all meme quarterback team for like that is some prime meme production right there. Tommy DeVito, Jameis Winston.
You need Will
and
Levis
Russ
and you
Wilson.
need Nathan Peterman.
You need Will.
Yes, exactly. I was going to say those 2 names.
You need Will.
You don't.
You definitely need Will.
So what about who inspired Aaron Rodgers is a meme. He's a meme.
Kind
Yeah,
of, but he's
Rodgers-
more like a
It's a
toxic
different category.
meme.
It's a different
Yeah.
category.
He was an elite.
Yeah.
He's one of the best quarterbacks to ever do it. And then he's just, he's played a
And-
little too
and-
long, got a little too weird.
Ooh,
for
this
it.
one. This is a good one. Zach Wilson is a meme machine.
He
Milf
was.
man.
He was.
But who's first team starter for meme quarterback? Is it Jameis?
It has to be
yeah. It has to be Jameis. There's too many.
Yeah.
There's too many.
Jameis. Dopes.
And
Um,
Jameis is a meme just by his own words,
Yeah.
It's just
So,
by his
you got your-
own
you got
words
your
he was
head,
saying with
shoulders,
his mouth.
Knees and toes.
There
Uh-huh.
is something I would like
Praying for
to
the
address
Lord.
with you guys. I don't know if you heard this rumor, but we've reached the off-season portion of the off-season where we just get ridiculous Dallas Cowboys takes. I was wondering how long it was going to take. We've reached it now. It's just a couple of weeks, and there is news, alleged news that the Dallas Cowboys are shopping, wait for this, Dak Prescott to who? The Cleveland Browns. Did y'all see this nonsense?
Yeah, that was I think that was pretty quickly debunked, but that was a Browns radio guy, like a Cleveland
What
radio
are we
guy,
doing?
right? But like
Yes.
I do that's every year.
he said he said he had a source, a very good source in Cleveland, and then he goes, "I've got multiple sources here," so he doubled down on it. And you really want 2 sources to confirm any story based on actual journalistic integrity.
Right. Mhm.
But I think pretty quickly they said that Cowboys aren't shopping him. But you're drawing a couple lines there, right, Scooter? You're saying one, okay, who does Jerry Jones love? Deion Sanders. Who would Jerry Jones kill to have as his quarterback? Shedeur Sanders. Which team would be crazy enough to pay a bunch of money for a quarterback without thinking about it? The Cleveland Browns. So I think that's how he got there.
Well,
I
Hondo.
understand.
I mean, how mad would you be to lose Dak is the real question, Scooter.
I would be okay. Here's what you need to understand about Dallas Cowboys fandom. Okay. The fandom is split. It's not down the middle, though. It's not 50-50. It's like 70-30. I happen to be in the 70% of Dak apologists. Okay. We understand
Sure.
Dak is a talented quarterback who has not been surrounded with elite help like Jalen Hurts. Dak has been asked to do it all. We've been saying,
he had
surround
CeeDee
him.
Lamb and
let me speak.
he had
We've been saying that, yeah, CeeDee Lamb's great, but you know what's also great as your wide receiver too? A Devontae Smith. Why can't we go out and get something like that? Why can't we help our quarterback? Right? That's the 70%. Then you got the 30% over here. They see Dak trying to do it all, resulting in interceptions, resulting in a lot of different things. And they're saying he's garbage. He's trash. They're not understanding he's being asked to do everything. Whereas you go to a team that just won the Super Bowl like the Eagles, they got one of the best running backs in the league. You just hand the ball off. You lean on your play action. You lean on your defense. And that's how you win a Super Bowl. So I'm with the 70%. I'm saying we need to help Dak out. In fact, I wouldn't be upset if we drafted a wide receiver 2 at 12. That's where I'm at. But the other people, they honestly believe that Cooper Rush was better than Dak. Some people actually believe that, and I have to deal with them in my fandom. So that's where I'm at.
You wouldn't take the second pick in the draft, though? You get off of Dak's contract. You actually get more draft picks because of that. You can build around Shador. You can build around Shador.
Yeah, but Cleveland,
and then Deion Sanders
has
can be your coach in 202026.
Cleveland doesn't have their first.
No,
but they don't have that cap room. They don't have the luxury.
We're not doing that. We're not doing
Dak,
that.
Dak would have to. Deshaun would have too much dead cap.
Also, by the way, he has a no trade clause. So what are we actually even talking about right here? We're talking about nonsense.
Yeah.
One thing, if you came to me, Brandon, and said this, I might believe you. I could see this happening, and this is what I've been seeing shopped. And I'm like, oh, I can see Jerry doing that. And that's us trading up for Travis Hunter. I've seen that. Ooh. I've seen the things that we need to do, and it wouldn't take that much.
I don't think you can
Jerry
get high
Jones. Enough. It would take our first this year, our first next year, and a second somewhere, right?
Are the Giants willing to help y'all out?
Yeah,
we're not.
That's
willing
the
to
thing.
help
They're
you.
probably going to have to pay a little more if you're paying in division.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't think you can get there.
It could be. That's the only thing I could see happening. Us moving up, Jerry becoming 1990s Jerry Jones again, saying, let's shoot for the moon. Who cares what happens? So we'll see.
Back when he was a spry 70-year-old man in the 90s.
Well, think about it. Think about when he traded for Roy Williams, right? I still think because of that trade, that is why we have not done any further big trades, because he was burned on that and he hasn't gotten over that burn. That was a big burn. That was a first and a third, and he was garbage. So
garbage.
I think now maybe enough time has passed. He's got that off him. We'll see. We will see. I'm happy to stand pat at 12-2. I do think there will be a talented player on there. I don't know if Genty's going to fall to us. I don't know if is going to be there. We will see. We will see.
You're going to go all in for Genty. That's
if you trade up, that's what you're trading up for.
Bad.
Absolutely not. Because Omari and Hampton.
I think that's a Jerry Jones pick.
Omari and Hampton's right there. It's like we could move
He
back
loves names.
and pick
Jerry
up Omari and Hampton. He does love names, which is why we will be signing Micah. That's coming sometime. Who knows when that's happening? That will happen, which is why CeeDee Lamb got his money.
He would have saved tens of millions of dollars in the cap if he had signed him.
Yeah, I know. He's going to get signed.
And how we operate. We literally wait till the last moment and overpay. This is a Dallas Cowboys tradition. Once you accept it, you can move on with your life. So that's all that's happening here.
The Bengals are following in your footsteps, which is
Mike is waiting. So we'll see.
You have to.
Speaking of the Bengals, actually.
Wait, you have to understand Jerrynomics, and Jerrynomics is called waiting to the last minute. I'm Jared Jones
and pay more. Speaking of the Bengals, though, I don't know if we got to discuss this last week. They did sign wide receiver 1 and wide receiver 2 to huge contracts.
Yeah.
Do we think this is going to lead to something successful, or do you think they've just hamstrung themselves financially investing that much money in one position? What are your guys' thoughts on that?
Answer your question, Sully. Probably the Broncos.
Everything hinges. What?
Well, I mean, for who has the better team, I mean, Steelers are probably going to go 9-8. The Cowboys are in the same boat, and the Giants are competing for Super Tank Bowl.
It all depends on what happens with Hendrickson.
I mean,
right?
It could be a sophomore slump. I don't know.
What did I do to deserve this?
I'm trying to.
Well, last time I praised Colorado or Denver,
what is going on? What are you guys responding to? Who's
going to have the best season? Tree says Broncos. I agree.
No.
Well, I said that 3 years ago.
It's going to be the Cowboys. We're going to go 12-4 again. Okay. We're getting back on track, and then we'll see what happens in the playoffs.
Okay. We've had enough of that.
No, with the Bengals, everything depends on what they do with Hendrickson. If he walks, every game is going to be a freaking shootout. Like every game is going to be 97-95. And you also need Burrow to be healthy. Like Burrow alone will win you 7-8
Burrow.
games, but they have not put a line in front of that kid is going to die.
I'm just saying the Cowboys went 12-4 the 3 years previous to Dak being injured. That's all I'm saying. That's it.
You don't. I mean, Dak isn't going to solve every single issue that
yeah.
you have.
And is
Sam
Dak
Saunders in
Dak
his-
injury prone? Is Dak
The
an injury prone
QB1 is
quarterback?
down. The
Yeah.
season is irrelevant. I don't care what anyone says. If your QB1 goes down, it does not matter what happens. Your season's over. Period.
Not if you're the Eagles. The Eagles will
Yeah.
tell you that's
The
not
Vikings-
true.
Or the Giants.
One
That
went
wasn't
down. They
for-
made the playoffs.
That wasn't
Your
an
division
extended
rival
period like that.
literally showed you the opposite.
Yes, again, that wasn't
Twice
an early
in 1992.
season injury. That was not an
That's
early
hospital.
season injury.
Mhm.
That is different.
That was mid. That was actually late.
That was late.
That was late season.
Late. And
That's
Nick
what I'm-
Foles came
You
in.
just got Big Dick Nick. Bam.
That's what I'm
Yeah.
saying. That's what I'm
He
saying.
slapped it on the table.
Okay.
Right there.
We'll get back to the Bengals. I have an actual question for you, Scooter.
Mm.
on.
Montrell Johnson. Tell me about him.
Oh, he went to Florida. Go Gators.
You like him?
He's good. He's good. He's not great, but he is really good. He will get you the yards that you need. That is my take on Montrell
That
Johnson.
is the worst endorsement I've ever heard Scooter give.
The
He will
thing
get
is,
you the
so-
yards.
The
so
thing is,
sold on him as an NFL prospect.
he's not the best, but he is really good. He's not like
You were so
not
high on
Chelsea.
Kadarius Toney, so I actually think Montrell
Yeah.
Johnson
well,
gonna lead
if
the
you look
league in
at-
rushing yards for rookies next year.
If you look at Kadarius Toney's tape, you would
Yeah,
see why I
okay.
was so high on him.
Mhm.
This
Yeah.
man's highlights,
Mhm.
he's breaking 8 tackles and scoring touchdowns.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, he was injury prone, and that happens a lot. When you get to the league, you get more injuries. You can't break 8, 9 tackles now because these are grown men. And I think that's what happened with Kadarius Toney. But you turn on that tape, you see Percy Harvin when you're looking at Kadarius Toney. You see him. That's why I was high on Kadarius Toney.
Mhm.
You turn on the tape for Montrell Johnson, you see a quality running back. He will get you yards, but he's not Kadarius Toney with his moves. He's not like extremely agile. He
I
will run
love
you over.
this guy the more you talk about him. Montrell Johnson gonna have 1,500 rushing yards.
Straight
next
line will run you over. He can make one move. He's a great running back.
year. All right.
Hey,
Tree,
look, speaking of,
go
I
for
want to
it.
show y'all something. I'm going to do a quick plug here. These are replica stadiums in honor of Major League Baseball, and they're accurate to the Google Maps, and they're 3D printed, and my buddy Jack is selling them. And I have a code for you. If you want $5 off, use code 5 points spelled out. I'll put a link down in the description, but yeah, they're not expensive and they can fit like right on your desk. You can just be like, oh, look, there's a model of Citi Field, and they have Wrigley Field. They don't have all the ballparks yet, but they have Wrigley Field. They have Oakland Alameda Coliseum. Here, I'll put a link in the description in the chat, and you can use my code 5 points for $5 off. I just started doing this, so this is a soft launch.
There we go.
Yes, this is
And-
actually something I really believe in. Like when you get one of these, you're like, oh crap, that's quality, and they're super accurate too, like super accurate down to the foot.
Yeah, let us
Thank
know
you
if you get one.
for letting me show.
Tweet 5.
I love you.
Tweet 5 if you buy
Mhm.
one of those. With that being said, though, I want to change gears a little bit here because it is the off season, right? Not too much.
Hold on. I didn't
breaking
get
news.
Tree or Adam responding about the Bengals. Would you guys have paid
I
both
already responded.
T and Jamar? Would you have paid them both?
I wouldn't have, but the reality is T and Jamar have the same agent, so they had to pay both or they were getting neither. That's the
And T-
reality of the situation.
And
Interesting
T's
take.
deal is a little. It's more like they can get off a T after 1 year, basically, in terms of where the guarantees are, right?
Yep.
So
All
T's agent.
contracts.
As I said, that was the cost they had to do to pay
Okay.
for Jamar Chase. And the reality is they could have gotten him for $35 million a couple months ago or a year ago, but they chose to drag their feet, and Myles Garrett got 40, so they have to pay him more. Remember,
but
they wanted to
all
make him the highest
NFL
paid
contracts-
non-quarter QB in the NFL.
All NFL contracts, even the guaranteed money, are a bunch of ifs. Like there are so many back doors and so many deferrals and things like that, and the way that they structure contracts, you can almost get out of anything. I mean, you're going to get a cap hit, but you can get out of paying somebody. All contracts can
except for Deshaun Watson.
Except for Deshaun Watson, they fully guaranteed the contract.
They could if he was violating his rehab with the torn Achilles.
Yeah, but
we'll see how it plays out. We will see how it plays out.
You can get out of anything.
I would like to switch gears though, and I want to hear your take on this specifically. We're going to go to the NBA. We're going to go to Stephen A. Smith.
I'm working on a Desmond Watson video, my friend.
Stephen A. Smith recently interacted with LeBron James courtside. I don't know if you guys have seen this, but they then both said some words to each other, and LeBron walked off. This has now turned into an international tour for Stephen A. Smith, talking about LeBron James nonstop, about what he said, about how he would have slapped him if he put his hands on him first. Have you guys seen this, first of all?
That was LeBron James coming up to me, unexpectedly, I might add, to confront me about making sure that I mind what I say about his son. Can't repeat the word.
Are we all just sitting here talking, or what's going on?
Oh,
you guys hear me?
Have you seen this?
We were actually able to listen in?
Yeah, we can hear it.
Oh,
Yeah.
I didn't know that. I was sitting there like I thought we were all dead. Want to keep going?
Play it like 1 minute.
Yeah.
Words because they ain't suited for FCC airwaves. That's what he was doing.
Oh, he cussed him out.
I thought long and hard about this over the last few hours because I had no intentions, Molly, of talking about this at all.
Yeah.
And the reason why is
okay, he had no intention.
It was a one-on-one, I wouldn't say a conversation, but it was a one-on-one conversation. But then I wake up and everybody from ESPN and my agent and everybody else were sending me that this thing had gone viral. And so ultimately it was unavoidable, and that is why I have to discuss it now.
You can pause this.
Wait he's filling that time. He's milking that 5 minutes of ad time.
First question is though, you watch that. Did LeBron do anything wrong?
LeBron seems very sensitive over any criticism of Bronny.
Stephen A. did say he approached him as a parent and not as an athlete. He did say that as well. So
here's the problem, though. Bronny James is a public figure. He's a professional basketball player getting paid a salary, and he is criticizing his performance on the court, not what Bronny James is as a person. So in the reality, Stephen A. Smith isn't violating ethics. The reality is Bronny's just treating him as a parent, not as a public figure. That's the
counterpoint. The counterpoint to that, though, is he's not acting ethically when he's talking about Bronny in the way he is. When you look at Bronny's stats now, this man is one of the best people in the G League. He's killing it. And now Stephen A. Smith is acting like, oh, yeah, I was saying that this whole time. No, you weren't, Stephen A. Smith. You were not saying Bronny was good. You were saying the only reason he's in the G League is because LeBron James. You were saying this is nepotism. That's the only reason Bronny da-da-da-da-da-da. That's what you were saying, Stephen A. Smith. Now that Bronny has established himself as a great player, now it's a switch up. So to me, I understand what you're saying, Tree, but it's also in the same way as, well, maybe LeBron has a point, because you were not being fair with my son when you were saying all this stuff about him. Now, all of a sudden that he's been proven to be a viable player, an NBA level player, and he can hang, now all of a sudden it's different. But you came out with all this nonsense. So,
and here's the stuff that came out earlier today too.
I suggest that he be happy with the things that I haven't brought up. I never brought up really and never really discussed why you were not at Kobe Bryant's memorial service. I never really brought up or discussed
he was
why you did not attend Dwayne Wade's Hall of Fame induction when that man was directly responsible for you capturing a championship for the first time in your career. I brought up none of that. I didn't bring up the fact that even though when people had asked, you had alluded to what had happened tragically to your son, and thank God he's okay with his heart condition. I didn't bring up the fact that even though you couldn't go to the Hall of Fame induction of Dwayne Wade weeks earlier, you were out of the country on business. I didn't bring that up. That's your personal business, okay? But the fact is, you wasn't at the Hall of Fame induction of a brother that's going to drastically assist to you being a Hall of Famer because he helped you become the champion that you are.
Can we cut it? Can we cut it?
Yeah, well, that's good enough.
Listen,
Future
you give an
Democratic candidate in
opportunity.
2028, by the way.
Stephen A. Smith is an opportunist, and anytime you give an opportunist an opportunity, what are they going to do?
Smash
Hey,
it.
He's going to jump.
Right.
I mean, he's doing what he has to do.
What
He's creating.
he is squeezing this for what it's worth. You know, maybe, you know, LeBron should have done that behind closed doors and we wouldn't even be talking about this. But I think he Streisand affected it to a degree where if you bring attention to something that doesn't, there's so many people that try to control things. And what do we have control over, guys?
Us.
Yeah. That's about it.
Our
bowels.
reactions.
That's yeah.
I still control
breathing,
my own bowel.
maybe.
Um,
Yeah. I don't.
Right.
You know, it's
But like
interesting, though.
LeBron trying to control the narrative is making it worse for him when you should just not say a thing.
Well, it's interesting because there was a video pulled up that said, and it was a compilation video of Stephen A. Smith saying, well, if you're an athlete and you got a problem with me, I'm courtside. You can come say whatever you want to me. You can. Why
that's an
don't
old
you
one,
just?
right?
And so on the other side, it's, well, hey, he said, if you have a problem with them, you go and talk to him courtside. And that's what LeBron did. So it's like, do you really want it to have it both ways? Or is this acceptable? To me,
actually want
go on.
LeBron and Stephen A to do a real life fight.
Well,
An
here's the
actual
thing.
fight.
I will watch. I would pay to watch a Stephen A. LeBron James boxing match. 100%.
I mean, the odds are already out there, man.
Look at that. LeBron's got
minus
negative
5,000.
5,000 to win.
And then Jake
And this
Paul
is not
fights
Centel. This
the
is NBA
loser.
Central.
Right.
Yeah, that would be.
This
Man.
is because, oh yeah, if you scroll down, he said he would have swung on LeBron if you put his hands on him.
Yeah,
That is absolutely an
That man put
absurd.
his hands on me. I would have immediately swung on him. Immediately.
That is an absurd.
Sure, you would have.
Yeah, he also
Assertion.
said you would have gotten his ass kicked right after swinging.
He
on
did
him.
say that. He did say that. So I guess ultimately my question is to all of you, did LeBron take the bait? Right?
I don't know if
could
there's bait there. Maybe LeBron created the. I don't know.
So yeah. Well, let me
On
just
the
hear
show
your
called
thoughts
Clickbait.
on this. Is there someone in the right? Is there someone clearly in the wrong in this situation? Or is this, bro, what are we doing?
I
What
just
do you-
I
like
don't
that
know.
we're in uncharted territory. You know, it's not often a father and son get to play together on the same NBA team.
That is
Whether
true.
or not Bronny should be on that roster or should have been put on that roster, that's like a different debate, right? But I wish we could have had this conversation with Frank Gore Sr. and Frank Gore Jr. And Skip Bayless criticized Frank Gore Jr. as a running back, and Frank Gore saw Skip Bayless at a Bills game or something. That would have been.
That would have been
elite.
great.
That would have been elite.
It's probably not going to happen a lot.
Is this an indictment on sports reporting today? Meaning that, is this what they're looking for? Is this what sports
No.
reporter, they're trying to get
We're way past
athletes?
indicting sports reporting based on
Yeah.
this.
Are we
Doug
trying to
This is-
rile up athletes to generate moments like this? Or is
They've been
this
doing
just
that
product
forever.
over time?
Yeah,
That's
they've
been
been doing that
reality. It
forever.
creates drama. That's what they've been doing since like the 80s or 90s. It's always about creating tension in those storylines. That's always been the thing. It's just the
What was it,
reality
Brett
of like
Myers?
recently. It's never been about ESPN creating these storylines. They've been reporting them. They've never been trying to make themselves the headlines. And that's the issue a lot of people have with ESPN right now. Like they're no longer reporting. They're trying to become it. They're trying to create these loud, like buzzwords and just create so much that it just defeats the purpose. I remember this happening when Stephen A. Smith was saying Shohei Ohtani couldn't be the face of baseball because he didn't speak English as a first language. It was the weirdest crap that they always put on there now. They're doing it for attention. That's the thing.
And
Like kind of like us. Like we need to learn because they're more clickbait than us.
so all we got to do is keep talking negatively about Bronny and then run into LeBron James.
Yeah, I think he sucks. And then
Thanasis James is too good right now.
Bronny's so
punch
bad.
me.
I hope LeBron punches me right in the chest.
That's fair.
It's so funny when people say I would have swung on him. I'm like, Will Smith walked up and slapped Chris Rock on live television, and he didn't do a thing because he didn't know what to do. You know, like
I
actually,
wouldn't
that was
swing
crazy.
on
Violence,
Muggsy Bogues, let alone
yeah,
LeBron James.
yeah, actual.
I wouldn't have
violence, people
swung on
don't
Earl
have any clue.
Boykins. You know,
Yeah.
LeBron
Is there-
James is 6'8", built
Is
like
there-
a Greek god.
Is there any other NFL news
Zeus.
that we have
Honestly,
missed
Chaz?
that we need?
No, there's
to
nothing.
talk
ESPN
else.
should shut up and report too.
Okay, we should do the countdown.
Yeah, I mean,
Also, go
dude.
to jksprints.com. Use code 5 points. Get your own stadium. Look out! It's so accurate. Go look this up in Google Earth. It looks like the real thing.
I think
I'm going to
there's more
paint this
color.
one and give it away. That's what,
Come on, man.
Counting down.
80s.
Close your eyes. Fall asleep. The show will put you to sleep. Now you're in slumber. Get that REM cycle. Get rested. Get recharged. Yeah.
2, 1.
I'll start.
Just
I
say it.
made $5.
Yes, let's go. I made $37.09.
Ooh, 43.96.
Tree,
172.
you will have to do a seance in the middle of your kitchen with candles and everything with an Ouija board to bring Aaron Rodgers to the Steelers.
No. You gotta. Who would you say is the Steelers' biggest rival?
Probably
Number one.
The Ravens.
Themselves.
Okay, so here's what you gotta
9
do.
and 8.
You gotta buy this stadium from 5 and paint the Ravens stadium.
Oh, there's the Raven Stadium's not available yet. It's
Yeah, I
only
mean-
City Field, Dodger,
make it
Oakland
available.
Coliseum,
No.
Yankee Stadium, Wrigley Field, which is dope. I need to get Wrigley Field, and then Tropicana Field. But more are coming every day.
No, I like Tree
Okay.
having to buy one of those stadiums, but he's got to paint it himself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
What
I
about the
can't
Bengals? Browns? Are Bengals or Browns stadium available?
Well, they have a
No,
Cubs.
no. They're only baseball so far.
Wow.
But there's the Oakland Coliseum.
Ooh, Oko.
Who's the Pirates?
All right, you have
biggest
to
rival?
buy the Oakland Coliseum, use my code, and then paint it in the shittiest way possible, please. I want to see
Which-
Tree's artwork.
Oh,
Yeah.
dude, I can do that probably during the show.
Okay.
All
It'd
right.
be pretty bad.
Alright.
Trust me. Oh, dude, I can't draw. I can't paint.
Yeah,
Yes.
I've
We
seen-
will be looking forward to seeing that. Remember, guys, this is what your donations buy. With that
Yeah,
being
it's
said,
culture.
what do you guys have coming out on your channels?
Ooh, I am gonna do a video on how the Dodgers are super shady. They are a shady organization.
I don't know.
Huh.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Tree, what you got coming out?
Well, I am working on a video about the remnants of the AAF. Are there any players surviving in the NFL? Why are they not?
Baby. I will be looking
Mhm.
forward to that one. Perna.
I got a video coming up tomorrow. You're just gonna have to wait to see what it's about.
Oh.
A
Okay.
mystery.
And I have Cowboys fans during the off-season dropping
Ooh.
tomorrow.
Oh, a late 20
We got
here.
like a couple of them here. I just
Piling
realized
on. Piling
I think
on.
Russ
Tree.
would have had a good chance to do better with the Steelers than Rodgers will.
that.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, he has the
I think so,
mobility.
too.
That's already.
I think
the
that'd be
thing.
about the same, but
Jerry can run for 4 years.
This has been another glorious episode
Yes.
of Clickbait Sports.
I can
Who would
actually.
Real OGs saw the first episode today.
Aaron
which was
Rodgers would
17
have the
seconds
chakras
long.
and have the mana points.
True
for it.
fans. True fans saw
Okay.
the 17-second episode before this.
Hey, that was the best episode we've ever done. Don't
It
put that
was
behind.
17
easily
seconds of
by a
glory.
mile.